the spirit of what he had experienced in the Reformed community almost lost him. It came within a hair of losing him. And the lesson that I just throw out to the Orthodox Presbyterian Church and to this group, because those of you who were attracted to hear Os Guinness and to this topic are probably the kind of people who are toward the Warfieldian ilk of human being, which is a peculiar sort of person that isn't like Hermann. And you need to be aware that you can lose precious young people by not, as Edwards would say, having affections that correspond to the glory of your affirmations. There must be a correlation, or something's not going to click in young people's lives. The experience in Germany made a lasting impact on him and on the way he carried the rest of his life. He said again and again that he respected and he sympathized with modernists who could honestly not believe in a bodily resurrection from the dead, nor that the Bible was inerrant, nor that Jesus was born of a virgin, provided they said it and didn't stay in churches where it wasn't believed. That's what made him angry. Quote, "There is my real quarrel with them," referring to some of the faculty at Union in New York. "There's my real quarrel with them. As for their difficulties with the Christian faith, I have profound sympathy for them, but not with their contemptuous treatment of the conscientious men who believe that a creed solemnly subscribed to is more than a scrap of paper." He wanted to deal with people straight up, argument for argument, honestly. His struggle with people who were struggling was very empathetic. 20 years after his German experience, he wrote, "Some of us have been through such struggle ourselves. Some of us have known the blankness of doubt, the deadly discouragement, the perplexity of indecision, the vacillation between faith diversified by doubt and doubt diversified by faith." Now, Machen came through without losing his evangelical faith, and he was called to Princeton to teach New Testament, which he did from 1906 until he left in 1929. And incidentally, in regard to this morning's comment, he never got any advanced degree beyond Princeton. Neither did, by the way, F.F. Bruce beyond his master's, and numerous others. There is no necessary correlation between insight and degrees. Most of the worst teachers in the world have PhDs. There is no correlation between pedagogical ability and advanced training. They are in two totally separate worlds. And the same is true with passion. The same is true with orthodoxy. The only thing a PhD does is certify you in the guild. That's all it guarantees. And that isn't much. He came to embrace conservative Reformed orthodoxy, a strong apologist now for biblical Christianity, and an internationally acclaimed New Testament scholar with his book, The Origin of Paul's Religion. It was still a textbook at Fuller in 1968 when I studied it with R.K. Harrison. The Virgin Birth of Christ, still in print and used today. Now, 2 decades he was at Princeton teaching. And those 2 decades, 1906 to 29, were the decades that we all know about as the controversy between fundamentalism and modernism. That's when it was raging to the fullest. And he made a very distinctive contribution to that debate. And what I want to do is, I think, get at him by contrasting his engagement of modernism with fundamentalism. Because you can't understand him if you only see him as one species of what's known as fundamentalism. At least I don't think that can be done. He was seen as an ally, and he was an ally to fundamentalism. He was blasted as guilty by association by those who were the enemies of fundamentalism. He never would accept the term himself. Here's Stonehouse's definition of fundamentalists. People who, quote, single out certain great facts and doctrines, the fundamentals, that had come under particular attack and were concerned then to emphasize their truth and defend them, end quote. Now there's a lot more to it than that, and Machen didn't like it. Here's what he said. Do you suppose that I do regret being called by a term that I greatly dislike, a fundamentalist? I most certainly do regret it. But in the presence of a great common foe, I have little time to be attacking my brethren who stand with me in the defense of the Word of God. So there you hear the balance of yes and no to fundamentalism. Here's what he did not like about it. These were his characteristics. 1, the absence of a historical perspective. 2, the lack of appreciation for scholarship. 3, the substitution of brief skeletal creeds for historic confessions. 4, the lack of concern for precise formulation of Christian doctrine. 5, pietistic, perfectionistic tendencies. Let me just insert, just to give you a glimpse here. For somebody like me that grew up in a home that I would call fundamentalist and love it, prize it, cherish it, wouldn't choose any other home to grow up in, never have joined the people at Fuller where I was, kicking against that prick and using nasty language and talking like an adolescent till you're 40 years old about how bad everything was in fundamentalism. I have no patience with that kind of debunking at all. But it took a while for me to get adjusted that there could be Christians who smoke. Listen to this quote. 1905, he's just finishing up at Princeton. The fellows are in my room now on the last Sunday night, smoking the cigars and eating the oranges, which has been the greatest delight I have ever had to provide whenever possible. My idea of delight is a Princeton room full of fellows smoking. When I think what a wonderful aid tobacco is to friendship and Christian patience, I have sometimes regretted that I never began to smoke. I mean, I think I can read that now. It just takes my breath away, my fundamentalist breath away, literally. And it's killing about 40,000 people a year who don't smoke but go to work with those who do. Well, enough on that. I still believe in all those things. 6, one-sided otherworldliness. 7, a penchant for futuristic Gileadism, premillennialism. He didn't like it. He was an amillennialist. So those were the things that set him off from fundamentalism. He was on one side and they were on the other, but when it came to the modernists, they were like two peas in a pod as far as he was concerned. Now, there's a deeper issue for why he did not align himself with the fundamentalists. And this is important because this gets to the root of how he tackled modernism in his day. And I hope the definition of modernism will come out in a few minutes more clearly perhaps than it has been so far. He went deeper than the fundamentalists and he went broader than the fundamentalists. And he owed his ability to do that to Benjamin Breckinridge Warfield. February 16, 1921, halfway through his time at Princeton, Warfield died. Machen wrote home to his mother, with all his glaring faults, he was the greatest man I ever knew. 1909,